Alright guys, so just making a quick video from the last video to show you kind of the results. So I took this stuff outside. There is no odor, it didn't smell like anything. I did get some on my hands and that was fine. It didn't burn or anything like that. So I got a couple of them going. I got this Sinclair Opaline motor oil 5-gallon. I got a couple of little ones in there, and then I got this one, the one that I showed you last, that was covered in rust. So at first glance you can see that it took off a lot of the rust, which is a good thing. But the only thing is that it said it didn't really damage any of the labels or any of rubber or anything like that. So this label did get some damage, and this has probably been out here for the past 2 days now. I've been turning it in this little container, and I took it out of this container because it just was too big. It wasn't getting any of the liquid on it. And for the $25 I spent on that rust remover, it wasn't a large quantity of liquid. So because I thought it was gonna engulf the whole can, at least this one can, but it didn't. So I had to take it out. I put it in the smaller container, and I was able to turn it probably every 6 hours. I would turn it. And I also took the sponge and I tried to slowly rub it. You can't rub it hard, because if you rub it hard it's going to take off the entire label. But I rubbed it real slowly and around the edges just to get it to where I could see more of it. Be very careful when you're doing that with these labels, because they are very fragile, and that could have taken some of it off too as well. But the rust wasn't coming off apparently, so I had to rub it down a little bit with the sponge. Now if I move it over to the back side, you can see more of the horse, the hog, and the lambs. And then if you move it to this side, which is the side that I have it on right now, you can see the name. There's a dog on the bottom, and then there's a sheep on the top. Now you turn it to the front, which I had it on the front for probably about 6 or 7 hours. You can see that, you can start to see the label. A lot of it did come off, unfortunately. But from the rust to what you get here, oh man, it's a good can, and it looks 100 times better without all that rust on it, And I'm pretty satisfied with what I got there. And I do have it on this side right now, trying to get most of this rust off. And then you can also see, like in the bottom, how the liquid was white and now it's black, because all the rust. Now I did have a sign in here, a rusted sign in here that had a lot of rust, and I'm going to show you that now. There's this pig sign. This pig sign on here had an apparent amount of rust, and you can see that it's not, I don't know if it's aluminum or it's really old. Now it did take off mostly all the rust, but I noticed on the paint it started to take up the paint, and I probably had this the same amount of time, about 6 hours, face down. I should have put it face up, that way when the paint started coming off a little bit, it wasn't running off completely because it was face down. It still came out pretty cool, because you can see a lot of the yellow now. Before you couldn't see any of the yellow, so that's kind of cool. And then I had this rusty Coca-Cola thermometer, and I threw that in, and it took off a lot of the rust too, so you can see more of the Coca-Cola. You can see the apparent white on top and where the discoloration is on the bottom. So I still need to do this part, but this part looked like this on top, so you can see where it kind of helped that discoloration of the rust there. So overall, I'd probably give the product probably about a 6. Just because of the label situation, the paint situation. You can't really, leave it too long because then the label does start to flake up. And then also the fact that, if you take anything to try to rub off, apparently more of the rust, it'll start taking the label off completely. So you have to be very, very careful. I mean, who knows? If I would have kept that in, probably, I don't know, a day or two more, maybe the label would still be fine. But I was really trying to see what was underneath there with that sponge that I had, and it came out pretty good. Before you couldn't see anything, and now I'm gonna have a can where I can actually see some stuff on it, which is kind of cool. So we'll let this side go overnight, and then we'll see what happens. But overall, I'm pretty impressed. We'll also see what happens with this 5-gallon oil Sinclair can, the Opaline. That's a nice can there. So hopefully this video helped you guys. I am going to be making other videos, just because there's not really any videos on how to clean these rusty cans other than actual business videos. So there is other liquids that you can purchase other than the rust remover. I'm gonna look into those too. They're like a kind of gel, and see how they work. But for right now, signing out. Thanks, guys.